So I was recently asked what's more practical to have on a pedal board if you're trying to increase your signal gain. Do I use a clean boost, a compressor, or an EQ? Well, it all depends on really what exactly you want. So the short answer is that a clean boost is going to give you the most direct effect as it pertains to raising the overall gain of your signal. But these three items, a clean boost, a compressor, and an EQ, can all achieve a similar kind of thing, but in different ways. So electrically, an EQ, a compressor, and a clean boost are all very different. The EQ and the clean boost would be in closest relation, but the compressor is almost a completely different circuit. So what do they all do? So again, a clean boost will just increase the gain of your signal, so many odd dB. That's your overall signal. It doesn't attenuate any frequencies. It doesn't increase any frequencies. So it does nothing to the bass, the mids, or the treble. Whereas an EQ doesn't increase the gain of the overall signal, but it'll increase the gain of certain bands. So this is why something like a graphic EQ has so much variability, because you can change the EQ of virtually every increment, every frequency that is on a graphic EQ. Most other EQs are simpler. They might have usually 3 knobs is the typical standard, where you have your bass, your mids, and your treble. Very often on guitar stuff, you only have bass and treble. But now go into your compression. Your compressor does something completely different than those other two. While it can give us the effect that it's increasing the gain, which it can, it does something called makeup. It'll make up the gain. But what a compressor's job really actually is to take the inputs that might be at varying volumes and make them all the same at the output. So in electrical terms, say I'll use numbers that are larger than what would typically come out of a guitar, but just so it's simple to quantify. So when using a compressor, if I had a 1 volt note that was hit on the guitar, followed by a 3 volt note that was hit on the guitar, but had the output of the compressor set to 2 volts, then it would bring that 1 volt note up to 2 and that 3 volt note down to 2, thereby giving me a flat 2 volt output at the compressor. If I had it set for 2 volts, they're not enumerated in that kind of specificity, but that's what's going on electrically, right? So the compressor is basically evening everything out to a specific dB, a specific ratio, right? So that 1 volt doesn't pass and that 3 volt doesn't pass. That 1 volt comes up to 2 and that 3 comes down to 2 as well, and that's where you get your compression. Now, compressors are very useful for things like evening out your tone, especially if you have pickups that sound louder on other strings. Some pickups, might have more gain in the high E's rather than the low E's, and vice versa. It also depends on what kind of music you play. So if you play a lot of funk and things like that and do like a lot of hard strumming, it can be really nice to have a compressor, because that will equalize, essentially it'll equalize all your strokes on the guitar to the point where nothing's coming out really loud or really soft all the time. Now, the thing about this, and why this might be something that confuses people or they might feel curious about, is because the clean boost, the compressor, and the EQ can all kind of give you the impression of being able to do the same kind of thing. But in reality, they really don't. So again, if you're someone that just wants to boost your signal, the cleanest way to do that, the way that's going to give you the truest result, meaning that the signal that you put in will come out exactly the same. The one that's going to give you the truest result is going to be the clean boost. Next to that, you have the compressor. Because on most compressors, while you can manage the dynamic range, because that's the point of a compressor, you can also tweak the gain on them typically. You can do what's called makeup gain. So you can change the gain on a compressor. But that's not necessarily what it's made for. Now an EQ, just a straightforward EQ that doesn't have a gain knob, is only meant to increase the gain of certain frequencies. So an EQ can give us the impression that it's boosting our frequency or our signal, when in actuality it's just boosting certain frequencies. Especially if we do something like a treble boost, which is more common in guitar world. So it's more often the case that a guitarist might look for a treble boost because they want to have some shimmering highs and they want to get some more volume. But the only thing about that is that's perceptive volume. It's not actually increasing the signal. It's really just increasing the treble. It's increasing certain frequencies. So the human ear will pick up the frequency range of 1K to 5K louder than the rest of the frequency band, which in audio is about 20 hertz to 20 kHz. Now we hear 1 hertz to 5 hertz, or 1 kilohertz to 5 kilohertz louder than the rest. So if we do a treble boost between 1 kilohertz and 5 kilohertz, it's perceptually louder than if we just had a flat signal. But in reality, it's not boosting the gain like a clean boost would boost the gain, because your clean boost would just pull up the signal and no frequencies would be affected. So that's just some clarification on the differences between a clean boost and a compressor and an EQ. Again, if you want to just bring up your signal, clean boost is the way to go. If you want to even out your signal, a compressor is the way to go. Now, if you just want to tweak certain frequencies, then an EQ is your best bet. I hope that helped in some clarification. Thank you for watching. Take care.